Hello, I'm Johnny Massacre and welcome to the Johnny Massacre Show. Today we're going to be talking about loads of fun shit. The new PS5 pad has been revealed, Disney Plus is incredibly popular, and Salt Bae has caused a sexism storm. So let's just get straight into it. So do you want to see what the new PS5 pad looks like? Before I reveal it, if you haven't seen it already, I'd like to draw your attention to the original pad designs. Have a look at this. So you can see the original PlayStation pad in the top left. That is a fucking amazing design. Look at the simplicity of it. I also like the way the buttons are colored. I like the shapes they use for the buttons. And that design will go down in history as one of the best designs ever for a control pad. The PlayStation 2 you can see at the top in the middle. And I always thought it kind of looked shitty the way they just wedged those analog thumbsticks in there. I thought the thumbstick should actually be on the left of the pad where the directional pad is, and the directional pad should be on the inside since it's not used that much. But it is what it is. And then the one to the right of that, and then the one in the bottom left, and the bottom, I guess some of those are PS3 pads. So the PS3 and PS2 pads look identical. Then in the bottom right, you've got the PS4 pad. You can see they've changed the grip slightly. They added a speaker in the bottom middle. And they have what's known, or what I call the piano key in the middle, which is that big fat button, which is really easy to press and you can't miss. So those are the classic pads. Now the new pad, when I saw it, I thought it was an April Fool because it really doesn't look how I expected it to look. It's definitely not a classic design. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I'm kind of curious because I'm a harsh critic as a curator. So sometimes I might go a little bit overboard, but it looks like an Xbox pad. Have a look at it if you haven't seen it. There it is. This is the new PS5 pad that Sony revealed. The PS5 news and reveals have been a bit disappointing as of late, so this is quite welcome and is getting Sony back on track, giving fans what they hunger for. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of a bit lost for words. It's definitely not terrible. And it almost looks like the buttons are flush with the grip, which is really weird. They've stayed true to the original function in that the D-pad is still in the top left and the layout is the same, the speaker's the same, the piano key's the same. But apparently what makes this different is that it has haptic feedback. So it basically has rumble, but really, really good rumble. And I can go through the article, but there's no point really because it doesn't reveal a whole lot. Most of the articles I've seen on this pad try to oversell it because they're just reading from the press release from Sony. The name of it is not Dual Shock anymore. It is Dual Sense. And it's definitely not a classic design. It's not the kind of design that will hold up over the years like the original PlayStation pad, but it is a departure from earlier models. So, yeah, I mean, calling it Dual Sense is kind of interesting because shock is an intense kind of spike of force, right? But sense covers the range of feelings. So I guess the way they're marketing it is something that's slightly more refined. It has a built-in mic. They're selling that, but the original pad already does. See, this has a mic on it. So you're not really selling it to me by saying it's got it's got a speaker on it. Oh, hang on a minute. No, I'm going mad. So right, no, this pad doesn't have a mic on it. It's just got a speaker. So yes, it has a built-in mic. So what that means is you can chat with people without a headset. So I don't really know what the point of that is. They're just going to lose money on selling peripherals and headsets if you can do it through the pad. And any serious gamer, any competitive gamer who plays first-person shooters and stuff knows that you need a headset to hear where the footsteps are coming, grenades are coming, bullets are coming. Without that, you're losing 10% at least off your game. So the mic inside the pad, I guess, is for just quick, casual gaming. Is this a sign of things to come? Are Sony going more casual? I hope not. The new pad doesn't have a share button. It has a create button. And that's a bit more current, but it's the same shit on paper. So that's not really a selling point. And anyone worried about not getting their PlayStation 5 this year, 2020, during fall, because of the C word, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the PlayStation 5 is going to come on schedule unless supply chains break down, because game sales and consumption is massively up right now. If you just do a quick Google search, there are some eye-watering stats about how many people are playing games and buying games at the moment. So Sony will be even hungrier to get their console out. So next up today, I just want to talk a little bit about Disney Plus. Yay! Those of you familiar with my work know that I fucking hate Disney because they ruined Star Wars, one of the coolest, most important movies ever. They fucking ruined the whole series. They didn't just ruin one film, they ruined 3 with the intellectual property of Star Wars, the cunts. So I hate Disney. And also in Japan, women are brainwashed by Disney. If you go through a dating app and swipe, I mean, I could do this. I could do it right now, but I'm not going to. If you go through a dating app and swipe, 1 in 3 pictures will have a Japanese girl wearing Mickey Mouse ears looking up longingly at the fucking Mickey Mouse Tower. Fuck off with that shit. Japanese people are obsessed with Disney. I do not know why. It is meaningless trash. So I super dislike Disney. And it's come to my attention recently that Disney Plus is taking over. I mean, Disney have enough money to blow anyone else out of the water, so I'm not really surprised. And they've got the best original content, the original Disney movies. That's the bedrock of their whole business, even though they're trying to rewrite history, as is typical of progressive lunatics, and say all the princesses in the original Disney films are not really princesses anymore. Now they're all female badasses, which is retarded. If you've watched current Disney movies, you will know what I'm talking about. But still, they've got all that shit, and it means that Disney Plus is really popular, and everyone's talking about it at the moment. And listen to this stat. What took Netflix 7 years to accomplish required only 5 months for Disney Plus. So Disney Plus is kicking ass at the moment. And I'm going to prove it to you, because I'm going to read you a little bit of an article from phonearena.com. And it says, what took Netflix 7 years to accomplish required only 5 months for Disney Plus, bolstered by the number of people forced to stay at home because of the C word. Disney announced that its Disney Plus streaming video service has now 50 million paid subscribers. 50 million people are giving Disney a subscription service every month. All about subscription services in 2020. Games, movies, all across the board. Even fucking shaving products. The service, which launched on November 12th, also benefited last March from the early listing of the hit sequel Frozen 2 on the site approximately 3 months ahead of schedule. Carrot on a stick from Disney. Frozen 2 can suck my penis all night long. I had the misfortune of seeing that film. So I met this girl. I do club events and I do drum and bass events in Tokyo. And I did one. And it was fun. And some of the people who came, I made friends with them, a bunch of snowboarders from Seattle. And one of the guys, he's a fucking lunatic. He was buying a lot of shots and stuff. So we were all hammered. And then we went on to a different club, ditched the night that I promote, and just for my own self-interest and cynical needs. So we went to another club called Harlem. And in there's loads of like hot girls dancing around and shit. And I like to enter clubs at around 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because that means all the hungry, thirsty guys who shot their load early and failed have crashed and burned, and everyone else is kind of has a bit of Dutch courage because they've been drinking, which means me, the British bastard, can kind of get in there and get my chat going, and things are much easier. And I met this girl, and she's pretty hot. Well, she looked hot in the club lights and in a dark room. And so I went on a date with her, and it was fucking awful. It was the worst date ever. Talking about Disney and shit, as is the way in Japan. And I thought, right, this girl's English is fucking shit and the conversation is dry, so I need to either eject or I have to try to think up a way to keep us in close contact and keep the bonding going and use minimal conversation. So I thought, I know, let's go and see a movie. So I said, what do you want to see? And there was one movie available that I wanted to see, and the other one was Frozen 2. Guess what she chose? So I sat there and watched Frozen 2, and I really wanted a piece of this girl, but Disney just beat me into submission. I woke myself up due to the sound of my own snoring at least 3 times during Frozen 2. Imagine watching Frozen 2 in Japanese with no subtitles. Absolute torture. And I could kind of just about get the plot. It was fucking awful. But guess what? Putting Frozen 2 on Disney Plus means loads of people subscribed. What is wrong with this clown world? So Disney is just absolutely destroying people left, right and centre. The article says, if you're wondering which platform is the global leader in streaming movies and television shows, that would be Netflix. The latter has 167 million paying subscribers worldwide. However, it took Netflix 7 years to hit that mark and Disney just 5 months. So Disney is gonna... Fuck, man. Imagine a world dominated by Disney. They're already trying to dominate the culture. Go away, Disney. Go away. I would never, ever, ever, ever support Disney. And that's why you might have noticed there's no more Star Wars content on my channel, because I think other YouTubers, they would strike gold by doing a rant like I did about Star Wars and get tens of thousands of views or hundreds of thousands of views, and then they'll keep milking it and milking it and milking it. Geeks and gamers, not hating on them, but they clickbait the fuck out of Star Wars. I have integrity, and Disney fucked me from behind 3 times with their 3 Star Wars sequels, and they're not going to fuck me again. I'm not going to watch any Disney films. Fuck off. You have destroyed my trust. But people just keep going to see it, and it keeps them going. So I have no interest to fill Disney's coffers whatsoever. You know, people always blame Disney, but they're to blame if you keep subscribing to them. I'll never, ever subscribe to Disney Plus. Supporting Disney isn't much different to supporting China. They are both fucking evil. Disney is the lesser of 2 evils, of course, but if you still support Disney, you still support Disney if you buy their goods. So, you know, you can't avoid buying Chinese goods, obviously, you know, clothes and electronics and just anything pretty much. But you damn well can avoid purchasing Disney shit, which is what I'm doing. I mean, why would you support a fanatical leftist organisation who's trying to brainwash your children to the big government pseudo-religion who Disney wants you to vote for? They got fanatical followers who base everything on deconstructionism and feelings and are the source of global censorship around the world and political correctness of today. Disney's narrative, Disney's ideology in their movies is all of that ramped up to 1,000. Do you really want to support political correctness? Do you like political correctness? Because Disney is the most politically correct country in the fucking universe. As far as I'm concerned, if you support Disney and political correctness, you're supporting big government and AI and face recognition and all that kind of stuff. I tell you, when we enter a dystopia where we're penalised every time for wrong thing or hate speech, for example, saying a woman is a woman and a man is a man and they can't change. Remember this fucking show, because you supported Disney, you supported political correctness, and you're supporting a government who's trying to push that down our throats and control us all to the end, to the grave. You know, Disney censor movies in China. Really? You must have known that, right? Have a look at my screen. So this is an article on cnet.com. And they did something in Doctor Strange. So if I scroll down a little bit here, I'm going to read. Marvel is censoring films for China, and you probably didn't even notice, said CNET.com. Benedict Cumberbatch skyrocketed to stardom in Sherlock, the BBC's 2010 TV series about a modern-day Sherlock Holmes. The actor leveled up again in 2016's Doctor Strange, playing a slightly different kind of genius in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Doctor Strange is now one of the biggest heroes in the MCU, having used his powers to mastermind the Avengers' greatest history ever. That kind of heroism comes at a price. Doctor Strange succumbed to one of Hollywood's oldest villains, whitewashing. In the 60s comic, a Tibetan monk guides Strange's magical training. In the 2016 movie, his mentor is instead a Celtic woman, played by Tilda Swinton. The recasting came as the lesser of 2 evils, according to director Scott Derrickson, who said he wanted to avoid Asian stereotypes. Yeah, right. But according to one of the film's writers, there was also fear of the Chinese backlash for any connection to the Tibetan sovereignty dispute, in which China asserts rule over an independent seeking Tibet. You fucking cunt. So you support Disney, you support this shit. They're censoring for China, right? So they took Tibet out of that because of their sovereignty dispute. Now let me tell you the ramifications of that. So China are communist cunts, and they insidiously want to take over the world. They're ramping up their warships and building artificial islands in the South China Sea, and they don't recognize all these places as their own independent states or nations or countries. They want to take them over. Another example of that is Taiwan. On the World Health Organization, Taiwan's not even a member because China basically give backhanders to those crooked motherfuckers. And guess what? Do you know what the ramifications of this are? Supporting a country that doesn't recognize these countries? Well, Taiwan warned the world on December the 31st that coronavirus could be transmitted from human to human. They were the first people to do it, and no one fucking listened to them. And because they weren't in the World Health Organization, and because the World Health Organization are paid off by China, the World Health Organization 2 weeks later, on the 14th of January, said there's no evidence that coronavirus, I said the fucking C word, it's everywhere. They said that the C word can't be transmitted from human to human. So these are the ramifications of supporting a country like China. Do you know what else China does? It keeps 1 million Muslims plus in concentration camps, separates them from their kids, and brainwashes them to sing communist fucking songs, among many other things, like fucking up animals and doing all kinds of crazy shit because of their communistic nonsense. And you want to support Disney? I've been saying fuck Disney for time. Before the C word and all this shit, I would never drop another dime on Disney. And so I'm digressing a bit now, but what I'm trying to say is fuck Disney and fuck Disney Plus. So finally for today, Salt Bae, you know that knob who like sprinkles the salt down his fucking arm? He's opened a burger joint in America, and he's getting blasted for it because he released a pink veggie burger for women only that was free. So social justice warriors are never fucking happy, and so they basically torn him down. And I find this whole story rather amusing. Did you even know Salt Bae started this restaurant chain? The C word has taken over the news. This really went under the radar. But New York Post talked about it. So there's Salt Bae, got his arm around a woman, kind of getting in there. And it says Salt Bae's pink veggie burger for ladies, now free for gents too. So let's read. It's always ladies' night at Salt Bae's new burger joint. Last week, the steak-slapping, soul-scattering meat purveyor sparked outrage with an unusual menu offering a veggie burger with a pink bun that's free for ladies. Early reactions to the burger served at Salt Bae's restaurant near Union Square were not positive. Some critics cried sexism and stereotyping. Others felt that the discount and color coding excluded members of the non-binary LGBT community. I try not to crack up because this reads like a parody, but it's true. What on earth compelled the Instagram star to make a pink burger for women? Yeah, what on earth compelled him to do that? I can't believe he made a pink hamburger, was giving it away for free. You can tell when capitalism has succeeded because people are complaining about getting free hamburgers. That is rather crazy, wouldn't you say? Back to Salt Bae. I know a lot of vegetarian ladies, that's why. Salt Bae, whose real name is something I can't pronounce, tells the New York Post. It's healthy and delicious. I eat one every day. His brand manager, Kamal Binichi, says that ladies only note was a misprint, which means he's a fucking liar. The menus have since been corrected to include men on the deal. We didn't want to make it a sexist thing, Binichi tells the Post. The veggie burgers, which include patties made with squash and carrots, this doesn't sound very good, will be free until further notice, Binichi says. Objectively, it's not even the most outrageous thing on the menu. And then he goes on to talk about a $100 gold flaked burger. So they're trying to kill him now because he's upset the social justice warriors. Had you heard about that news? I hadn't. I had to dig deep to find that shit underneath the C word. I mean, this place opened last month and basically nobody knows about it. And they're saying they're going to open hundreds around the world. I don't think so, not anymore. Pink hamburgers free for ladies, eh? I mean, leftists, especially far leftists, they always want more. It's never enough. They're always meddling. They're always meddling. You know, when their politics fail, they just want more and they start ramping up the policies again and again and again, trying to fix something, just going in a circle and not fixing anything. The people who get pissed off over having a free fucking hamburger, I would say they might want to think about if they have a predetermined ideological conclusion that supports their device whereby they use victims to promote their policies. They're using women to promote their policies. They're using LGBT to promote their policies. They're exploiting these people. You heard those ideological buzzwords in this article. They're baked into articles like this every single time. You see, people, these social justice warriors, these leftists, they go out looking to exploit, shame, and basically use people to push their message, regardless if it destroys that person's reputation and business and life. They're fucking cunts, man. You know, I bet it feels pretty good to be a white knight, you know, when really you're just doing it to feel good about yourself and accrue power and leverage. See, guilt for these people who write these articles and who get pissed off over free hamburgers, these kind of hardcore leftists, guilt for them is like pride. They're proud of their guilt. The more guilty they are, the prouder they feel. They wear it like a badge of honor. And it kind of descends into a narcissistic God complex where the more guilt they have, the more they appear to care, and they get to look like they're helping people when really they just want to feel good about themselves. It's basically an epically misplaced attempt to fill their soulless lives with meaning. Pink hamburgers. Getting offended for a pink hamburger. That's, getting offended for a pink hamburger that excludes members of the non-binary and LGBT community is like getting offended that a vegetarian burger doesn't contain any meat because meat eaters are going to feel underrepresented. This basically makes gay people out to be fucking retarded. If you think gay people are pissed off that their hamburger doesn't have the right colors to represent their community, you think gay people are fucking idiots, which just proves everything I've just said about how these people don't really care about gay people. Imagine if someone said, oh, straight people will be offended because the hamburger isn't the color that represents straight people. And I'm going to be like, yeah, that's right. Let's get angry because this free hamburger is not blue. It's nonsensical, ideological crap. Blue hamburgers though, that's quite a good idea, isn't it? Blue hamburger for men. Why not? I'd fucking love that, mate. Again, so, guilt, white knight syndrome, exposing these complaining people as not caring about the people they're pretending to be interested in. They just want to look virtuous. They just want to satisfy their narcissism and lack of meaning and purpose. If you're getting offended about getting a free hamburger, you're definitely not hot. I'm telling you, any woman that gets pissed off, they're minging. It's true. Don't hate me. It's true. Women who aren't hot basically get offended by feminine things because their femininity has failed to find them an adequate mate, and so they want to destroy femininity. It's the metaphor of not being able to look in the mirror and smashing the mirror instead, so no one can look at it, no one can have the free hamburger. And ironically, social justice warriors hunting for anything to whine about, who hate men and love the idea of patriarchy, have inadvertently made this female-only burger available to chest-beating men as well, and the restaurant made it free for men also because they were accused of sexism. It's very ironic. But wait, what about affirmative action? We racially profile people to let them into schools. Isn't that a bit like the pink burger, which is reserved and cheapened only for a select demographic? You can basically see the leftist ideology making no sense at all and contradicting itself all the time because its origins just stem from dishonesty. Nothing about this article is honest at all. It's just all about maintaining a narrative. It's like pushing leftist ideology, and that means kind of promoting liberal, baked-in talking points without any theory behind it at all. And now I'm going to read you something I wrote. So that's kind of the news roundup for today in my weird world, at least the news I'm looking at, trying to stay away from the C word. I'm going to just read you something I wrote. So my cousin, who I love very much, we sometimes argue about politics. I'm a Trump supporter. My cousin isn't. And what makes this interesting is that my cousin is black and I am white. And as you know, the media always loves to talk about black people and minorities and whatnot, and how they should be Democrat, and tries to organize those people into a groupthink, to the point where if there's a black Trump supporter, some of the people on the left are surprised. Whereas I just think you should support whoever you support, regardless of color. But anyways, it's quite interesting. So me and my cousin, we have these interesting conversations about it. And he can trigger me big time if he will send me a link of someone like Trevor Noah, who's like, I think is a real race baiter, and say, well, look at this guy. And I'll just get triggered, and I barely listen to him speak, and I'll just go on a political rant. And then I'll say some shit about Trump, and it will trigger my cousin as well. But it's cool. It's good to have these political debates. We don't talk about it enough. We talk about it so little. It's like when you're harboring these negative feelings, you must have done this in your family, and you don't communicate, and one day you just explode. I feel like the whole nation is experiencing this, where we're so afraid to talk about politics. When we do, we just get triggered and go on a rant. And we've gone so into our bubble without communicating about it, because Trump supporters are afraid to do it, because the left have made it unacceptable to be a Trump supporter. They've done this since the 1960s and since Roosevelt. Roosevelt and all them lot, whereby anyone who goes against democratic principles is a racist, sexist, killer, murderer, son of a bitch. And so Trump supporters are afraid to speak, and leftists are just afraid of Trump supporters because they're basically made out to be white nationalist psychopaths. And so we've just kind of gone into our shells, and we just absorb the news, whether we like it or not, whether we try to or not. And so when we communicate, we just try to get too much off our chest too quickly, and we realize we might have become a little bit ideologically brainwashed by all this one-sided news we're reading. And so, yeah, we send each other messages and shit. And my cousin sent me a picture or something, and I'm going to read you what I wrote. So I said to him, I think you can see one of the reasons I support Trump now. It's only because the left went so far left with all this social justice and bullying regular people who disagreed with all this progressive madness. They moved the goalposts so far and became so extreme that me, a classical liberal, who was always centre-left, found himself through no choice of my own on the right when they branded anyone who disagrees with them sexist, racist, prejudiced, etc. If they hadn't done that, I'm sure I would think Trump is garbage. That's kind of not true, but I said that because I just want to kind of exaggerate a little bit my point so he gets my point. But it was only around 2016, I remember seeing Hillary was a candidate and thinking, no, she's all right, I'd probably vote for her. And I remember when I saw Trump, and I had the same reaction as anyone else. Who the fuck is this orange, blah, blah, blah. But then, I mean, it's kind of true what I said there in some ways. But then things changed when the left went extreme left and political correctness. I don't do that, man. I'm a rapper. If I say bad things, my music's going to be censored. I was denied animating a music video because of my lyrical content, and that's part of this politically correct climate. And political correctness is what? Following what the government wants you to do. I don't want that George Orwell 1984 shit. Thank you very much. Let me continue my message. I said, the reason I support Trump is because the left is so extreme, I just can't go with them. And I feel they've created this overly simplistic narrative where all Trump supporters are assholes. It comes down to me as an artist not wanting to be censored. All the music we loved, me and my cousin loved, Dre, Snoop, Biggie, and the alpha male lifestyle is now under attack from the left. I actually typoed alpha male to aloha male lifestyle. Kind of the same thing, right? An alpha male lifestyle, aloha male lifestyle. I imagine the aloha male on Waikiki Beach, macking hoes left, right, and center. I continue. It's so frustrating because the left used to love individualism and fuck the system attitude, but now they're politically correct. It affects what I can say in my music and my freedom of speech. That's the main danger for me. That meme about two genders. In Canada, it is illegal to misgender someone, meaning if a man identifies as a woman and you call him a he, you can go to jail. It's unlikely to come to that now, but that's the first time in history there's ever been compelled speech in the modern free world where you're forced to use a word. And I find this incredibly dangerous. It's an incredibly dangerous precedent, and I'm fearful of any government who can force me to say anything. I want individual freedom of speech, and hate speech, while vile, is a necessary side product of that. As we cannot allow the government to decide what hate speech is, they'll just abuse this power and make anything they disagree with politically hate speech. So any political stuff the other side disagrees with will become hate speech. Freedom of thought will be compromised in that case. I mean, look at psychopaths, far left psychopaths like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She equates speech with violence, and if she got into power and was president, pretty much everything you say, you'll get arrested for. It would turn the world into a dystopian hellhole. So I continue speaking to my cousin. I said, and the fact that Trump represents, freedom in the Western world is ridiculous and shows you how far the left have gone off the deep end. We are living in a clown world. But, I like the way Trump, he's a stand-up guy. He can't help but say what he thinks, and I think that's refreshing. It's not very presidential, as some people put it. But I'm not a politically correct person. I kind of like that. I think it's funny and refreshing to see someone shake it up, and you're never going to see that again. You're going to get one of these political puppets who's bought off by everybody and just plays the game and is a sociopath and just lies through their teeth and reads off the teleprompter. Who wants that? I want something real. I continue. I loved the 90s where you could say what you want no matter how shocking. And it was okay. To me, that's cool. I'm free. And I took those days for granted. It was an incredible era. Great music, that is undeniable. Rap, Oasis, Blur, house, techno, drum and bass. It was incredible. The whiny social activists were always fringe. See, back in the 90s, those whiny social justice warriors were confined to whining about video games like Mortal Kombat. But they were always on the fringe, you know? Always on the fringe. Now, with the internet brands afraid of leftist nutters, mate, nutters, they censor their games and movies to appease them. And that really frustrates the fuck out of me. I do not want to live in a George Orwell world where everything we say is written down and we're fearful to speak and have wrong think. Peace and was, love, fucking hell, I can't speak. Peace and love wasn't. I call my cousin wasn't. It's my pet name for my cousin. So I wanted to read you that. That's something I wrote to my cousin, and I wanted to share that with you just to kind of show you where I stand politically at the moment and why. So let's talk a little bit about my life. What's going on? Well, the gym is closed. So Japan kind of did a lockdown, but they can't really enforce it legally. So some people are still open, but it's kind of happening now. The supermarkets are not sold out. I'm really fucking devastated about my gym closing for 3 or 4 days because bench press is really important to me. I've been building up the fucking bench press for like the last 3 fucking years, right? And my calorie and dieting and training and running is intense. It's almost like an athlete fucking level. So missing 1 day of bench press and eating the calories that I eat when I'm calorie counting is going to fuck me up. And that's basically what's happened today. So I'm going to need to find some weird alternate form of exercise to maintain my bench press muscles until I can sneak back to the gym. My cousin wasn't, I know you're watching, wasn't, he recommended I do upside down handstand press ups. That's probably going to look pretty rude, so I might have to do that. And what else is going on? So yeah, yesterday I was streaming. I noticed a few record labels saying we're going to do gaming streaming, and I thought, your artists probably have the charisma of a frozen pea. And I've been doing this for time, so fuck it. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and I'll show you. So I set up my streaming shit. Streaming is really complicated. I want to say big up to Chibi Baguette. He subscribed to my Patreon. If you haven't subscribed to my Patreon, if I can link it, I'm going to link it there. And subscribe because, man, the coronavirus is here. All my passive income is gone and my funds are going to run out in the next 3 or 4 months. Then you won't get any more Johnny Massacre videos. So I started streaming, that guy subscribed, and he also recommended me some new streaming software, which is really good. So right now I can't get any game sound on my PS4. I need a special kind of cable to sort that out, which is coming from Amazon tomorrow. So once that happens, there'll be game audio and my beautiful, sexy, syrupy voice for your consumption. And that's really fun. So I was playing Final Fantasy VII. Now, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not a game I would usually buy, and I was going to explain why I bought it on the stream where I played it, but I didn't because I thought someone might be watching, and she did, but I don't think she's going to watch this, so that's cool. So I can tell you why I played Final Fantasy VII. So there's this fucking amazingly hot girl that I know. She's like a 10 out of 10, man. I mean, she's perfection, straight up and down. I've known her for years, and yeah, nothing really happened, but nothing happened at all, actually. But I got in contact with her kind of recently, and she's like a big time gamer. She's really cool. So we've been talking like a bit of back and forth and shit. And she said, "Are you getting Final Fantasy VII?" And I wasn't planning to at all, but I thought, you know what? This is a good chance to communicate and get to know each other. So I was like, Final Fantasy, yeah, oh mate, Final Fantasy VII, yeah, of course, mate. Of course. I've got it on my. I've already prepaid for it. Yeah, on my PlayStation, it's going to be downloaded on day dot. So sure, let's. Why don't we? Have you got a gamer tag? So that's the kind of flex I was on. So I streamed it basically so she would see that I was doing it. And she did, and she sent me a message and we were chatting, so it kind of works. But she's really cool, so that's why I started. One of the reasons I started streaming. I'm a simple man. I see hotness and I stream. So there'll be more streaming. I'm going to stream later today, so hang around my channel for some streaming and games. I'm a massive gamer. I had to calm down the games to really focus on music production and stuff because music production is it is a full-time job, literally. But man, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool gamer. I used to play 16 hours a day, Halo 3, relentlessly. I was really good at that as well, and I've played games all day, every day. That's pretty much all I ever wanted to do since I was a kid. And I have mad amounts of gaming experience. And I'm good crack on the game. So I think you'll find it quite amusing watching me play. So hang around. As I said, I'm going to be streaming a bit later on. See, the difficult thing about that is a lot of people subbed to my channel recently for Star Wars rants, and I totally get it. I totally get it. If I was Geeks and Gamers clickbait, I'd do Star Wars rant after Star Wars rant and maintain those fans and give them what they want to see. Look, I'm going to pull no punches about this. I am a rapper, I'm a music producer, and I'm a DJ, and I'm fucking shit hot at all three, and that's what I do. And I'm getting into the whole streaming and gig market and social media aspect of it to boost my fans, which you have to do, which is what they say. But it's just, it's an amazing form of promotion, and I do love doing all those things. However, I'm not going to censor myself. I am me, if you know what I mean. And I'm not going to deviate. So instead of making more Star Wars videos, I kind of done some gaming streaming because I love playing games, but that means I will lose loads of subs, and I have. I lost 12 subs immediately because imagine you subscribe to some funny British guy. Oh, he's got a British voice. Ooh, and he's ranting, and then the next video is Final Fantasy VII remake playthrough. Like what? You just unsubscribe straight away. So it's this weird game of you make a video that taps into something that has a lot of buzz. You get loads of new fans, and then you got to be yourself, and then a lot of them just fall away, so you go back and your subs go down, but then there's a few new subs who might be switched on to what you're doing. So streaming and YouTube is a bit of a minefield, but I hope, being real, people will just get that from me. This channel, it's all about realness. Even underneath the music and my dreams and my goals, it's just about being me and communicating with the world. That's all it's about. So hopefully people will see that, and hopefully the subs won't topple down to 0. So, I've been Johnny Massacre, and I tell you what, mate, you better be back for the next video, because otherwise I'll be coming around your ass. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that's what all those other cunts tell you to do. And I will see you on the next one. Laters.